Welcome to class, everybody. Today we're going to talk about sharing young living and sharing young living as a business versus sharing it as a hobby. There's a lot of things that I can say about this. I'm going to try and keep it focused and keep, time down so we're not chatting about this for too long. But no matter how you share young living, or if you're just sharing about the oils, products, supplements, lifestyle that you're using, whether or not you intend somebody else to buy products, get a membership, or do anything else, you have to share compliantly. And that's something that some people are very confused about. I've heard a lot of people say, I'm not doing this as a business, so I don't have to be compliant. That is not a true statement at all. Being compliant with our language is not at all dependent on whether or not we are doing this as a business or getting any compensation from it or anything like that. It's just something that we have to do as part of the natural products industry. So when I'm talking about compliance, I'm talking about compliance with federal regulations in whatever country you happen to be living in, or whatever country the person that you're working with is living in. So it's important to know that our compliance regulations in the United States are different than our compliance regulations in Canada, for example. In Canada, they're allowed to make claims on many of the products that we get from Young Living based on health and wellness, because they have a different classification and different ways to go about that. In the United States, we have different regulations. Then they're controlled by the FDA and the FTC. So when we're talking about compliance, we have to take into consideration, what are we saying and why are we saying it? A lot of people get frustrated because they feel like their hands are tied when we talk about compliance. And when this really first started to happen, when people were paying attention to what we were saying and how we were saying it, what it meant and what we weren't allowed to say, I got really frustrated too. And I had to make a mind shift change. And I feel like that's where we're at as a global society right now, is making a lot of mind shift changes. But that mind shift change that I made for myself made everything so much easier and really aligned more with who I am and what I want to do. So instead of talking about illness or sickness or diagnoses or diseases or things that you can prescribe or anything like that, I just stopped talking about all of that. And what I talk about is health and wellness and all of the things that it takes to live above that wellness line. So we talk a lot in Young Living about speaking and living above the wellness line. When we think about the wellness line, what I think about is, what does it take in my life for me to live in a well state, in a healthy state, in a well state? And I'm talking about wellness mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, energetically, financially, in all aspects. I want health and wellness for me and everybody around me that I know and I don't know, in all of those aspects. I know as a craniosacral therapist, as an energy worker, a body worker, a healthcare practitioner, that whatever I focus on and put my attention on brings my intention more clear, and it brings that thing closer to me. So I don't want to put my words or my attention on things I don't want. That brings that closer to me, and that's not what I want. So I put my attention, my intention, and I use my words for the things that I do want. So I started talking far more about wellness, about health in all of those aspects: energetic, spiritual, mental, emotional, financial, all of it. So when I made that shift, it made a lot of things easier. I still have to pay attention to what I say, because if somebody asks me a question about how I use an oil, like how would I use cinnamon bark, right? I still have to think about, what is it I'm saying? Am I talking from that old paradigm where I talked about all the things that I didn't want in my life? Or am I talking about from the new paradigm, where I talk about what I do want and how this is supporting me in what I do want? When I made that shift, compliance became so much easier. I still have to pay attention to what I'm saying. I still have to think about it, but it's become more of a habit, and that's carried over into more things in my life. So when I think about what I'm grocery shopping, when I think what I'm buying online, when I'm having conversations with friends and family, the words that I'm choosing to use, not related to compliance with FDA or FTC, just the words that I'm choosing to use in my life are far more positive, far more energetic, and far more in alignment with who I am and who I want to be. And I find myself attracting those things more to me, which I find useful and helpful. So we want to never use words that are clearly associated with a disease or a disorder or anything like that. Just don't go in that direction. Talk about how these things support you as a whole, your whole being. We can talk about how oils and products support our body systems as a whole as well. When we're talking about body systems, so my musculoskeletal system or my cardiovascular system or my integumentary system, my skin, we want to usually use or talk about the vitality oils because those are internally labeled for internal use oils, and that typically makes more sense for body systems. Now, all of us know that our skin is the biggest organ of our body, and if you put anything on your skin, it ends up in your bloodstream, so that will naturally support the rest of your body. But that isn't quite made it all the way into the consciousness of the government and big corporations. So the easy shift around that is instead of saying cinnamon bark, I would say cinnamon bark vitality. That's it. That's all you have to do. And you're talking about a body system. Just link those two things together, throw the word vitality in there, and that will keep you compliant and it will keep you safe. The other thing about compliance that I hear a lot is people saying, well, you know, it's just me. Nobody's looking at me. Nobody's listening to what I'm saying. Nobody's looking at what I'm putting online. Like, who's going to check that? Because things get shared so often in the world and in this global environment with everybody online these days, things can easily turn into a meme or turn into something that's shared more and more and more. And because this happens so often, and because there are a lot of organizations trying to make sure that everybody's living above that wellness line and being compliant, there are institutions that are looking to see where did this originally come from. So yes, you could get in trouble, or Young Living could get in trouble if you say something that is not compliant, that cannot be proved scientifically already in the research currently in this moment right now, double-blind study, all of that stuff, which, you know, I don't know, I think we all know is maybe not the standard we live by, but it's the standard somebody's living by. And that can cause Young Living to get in a lot of trouble. In fact, in the last month, I will say it's May 5th, 2020, for those watching this in the future, in case it's out there. In the last month, there has been a lot of letters sent to various different companies, some essential oil, some other companies, natural healthcare product companies, basically cease and desist orders because members, distributors, or people within the company are making claims about what their products can do or will prevent or will fix or cure or stop with the environment that we have going around us right now. Those companies, if that language doesn't get cleaned up, are going to be shut down. We don't want that for Young Living. I don't want that for Young Living. So compliance on a base level is just good business. It's good for you to move in the world because if you make that shift in your mentality to talking about what you want, not what you don't want, it can change a lot of things, but it also keeps Young Living as a whole a healthier and more sustainable company that gets to be around for a long, long, long time. So that's my little tidbit on compliance. Stay compliant. It is important. It's not just, I mean, you can look at it in any way you want to, but I look at it as not just somebody telling me what I can and can't say. I look at it as an opportunity to change how I'm interacting with the world so that it is more in alignment with me and what it is that I really want. Yeah, it came from somebody trying to tell me what to say and what not to say, but I'm shifting that for myself. I'm going to pivot that and take it as an opportunity to really step up and really live the life that I know is mine to live. So I'm changing that for myself. So the other thing I want to talk about is, or another thing I should say, is there's a big difference when sharing Young Living and products, if you're going to share it as a business or if you're going to share it as a hobby. And it can be really helpful and useful to figure out where you fall in those categories. And both of them are good. Both of them are great, useful, fun, can be fulfilling. And it's important to know where you land, because if you think you're running a business, but really you have a hobby, there's a bit of a disconnect there. And if you can realize you have a hobby and you like it and that's where you want to stay, then that's great. You can let all of this other stuff go and have that hobby. Really own it as a hobby. But if you think you have a hobby, but you really have a business, you want to make sure that that lines up too in either direction. So the difference between a business and a hobby, there's a bunch of differences, but one of the main differences is how much are you investing in it? And I'm not talking money necessarily. I'm also talking about time. How much time are you spending on your Young Living business or hobby? If you're spending 2 hours a week, it's probably a hobby, but not necessarily. Some people can be very effective within those 2 hours and enroll a bunch of people. And in that case, if you're enrolling people and you're making, helping people out and getting the compensation and doing all of that, then you probably have a business, right? So that time piece is a piece to look at. When we look at this time piece, I want you to also think about how much time not just how much time am I devoting to Young Living or my business or hobby, but what am I doing with that time? So I started actually sitting down and looking at how much time do I spend doing anything Young Living or essential oil or product related. And I started tabulating for a week what that time looked like. And then I sat down and I said, okay, but what did I do during that time? A lot of it was looking at things online. I did some classes where I sat and watched them or participated in them. I did a couple classes where I gave them. I reached out to some people with text messages. I listened to some podcasts. I read the little newsletter that comes with my package. I got my order ready, but I didn't enroll a single person. I didn't talk about enrolling anybody. I didn't help anybody get started with Essential Rewards. I didn't do any of the real business stuff that it takes to run a business. So I spent a ton of time doing Young Living stuff, thinking that I was doing my Young Living business. But in reality, there was no conversion into actual business. Like, what did I get out of it? I got a lot of information for me to use, but me having and holding information doesn't do anything for a business. That does a lot for a hobby. So I realized I have a hobby. I'm fine with that. That's great. I'd like to have a business. So I need to do a little pivot here. I need to look at where am I spending my time and how am I spending it. There are a lot of people that talk about the 80-20 rule. If you have Young Living as a business, you need to spend 80% of your time that you spend on Young Living doing business things. Business things means enrolling people. It means getting people in classes. It means engaging with people. It means actually being active in the things that you're doing. 20% of your time you can spend on education for yourself. You can spend on classes. You can spend on reading. You can spend on trying new products. You can spend on, social media scrolling. You can spend on creating pretty infographics or creating another PowerPoint or creating another class. That's 20%. For me, getting that to 20%, this is a big challenge because I like to have a lot of information. I like to gather information. I'm an information gatherer. I'm really good at then synthesizing it and spitting it back out to help other people because I like that part. I like to be able to help other people. But the information gathering, that doesn't go in the 80% category when you're using it as a business. So if I had this as a hobby, then absolutely spending all that time gathering information, fine, do it, enjoy it. If that's where you're at and that's what you like to do, then do that. If you want to grow it as a business, you might need to pivot. You might need to look at what are you actually doing and what's effective for you. So growing as a business means that you're going to have some personal growth. It's part of doing any multi-level marketing, personal MLM or business like this. Any business like this, you have to do personal growth. It's part of it. It's built into it. So find your edges and give yourself a little nudge, a little push, and see, can you grow your edges? That's going to help you, whether it's a business or a hobby. But it's also important to figure out, what's your why? And in Young Living, we talk about our why a lot. If you ever go to convention and you're standing in line, trust me, there will be a lot of lines when we get into an in-person convention, not a virtual convention. Hopefully there won't be any lines there. In an in-person convention, there are a lot of lines. It's just the way it works. But what I love about those lines is hearing the conversations and connecting with other people. And one of the questions that I got asked a lot that I was surprised about was, what's your why? Why do you do this? What's your favorite oil and product? Number one question asked. Number two question was, what's your why? Why do you do this? And I mean, I thought about it and I thought I knew, but what I realized after multiple people asked me that question is I didn't really have a solid why. So to find your why, we need to look at what's your motivation, what's your power, and what's driving that. These are separate pieces. So my motivation may be something like, I want to make enough money so that I can quit my job. That might be a motivation. My motivation might be something like, I want to have and build a strong community around me that I feel really connected with. That might be my motivation. My motivation might be, I want to feel like I'm supporting other people, right? What's driving that? What's underneath that? Oh, I want to support other people because I get value from that. I get worth from that. I don't feel supported myself. I know how important it is when I do feel support, and I want to share that with other people, right? As you start drilling down, you can get more specific on why it is that you're motivated to do what you're doing. So one of the ways I love to do this is just to ask why. First of all, what's your why? Write that down. Why I think I'm doing this right now. I think I'm doing this right now because this would be my current moment thing. I love to empower other people. I love to empower other people in their own self-discovery and in their own health and wellness. That's my why. So then I'm going to ask why again. Why that? So ask why a second time, and then write that down. What's your answer for that? And then ask why a third time to that. You answer your why 3 times and drill down 3 levels, you're going to get a lot more clarity. A lot more clarity in what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. That first why answer that most of us give, because I want to make enough money that I can quit my job, probably not what's really the deeper thing there. Why do you want to quit your job? Because I don't feel fulfilled in what I do. Okay, why? What's under that? And that can help you really figure out what's driving and motivating you, which will naturally clear up a lot of things. Once you can get to that level of clarity, it may not seem important to you, but once you can get to that level of clarity, what this allows me to do is it allows me to be more clear about what I'm then going to do. If I know why I want to do something, then the steps that I'm going to take to get there become way more clear. If I really am motivated to share Young Living because I want to be able to make enough money that I quit my job, I'm going to act very different than if I'm really motivated to share Young Living because I want to build a community around me that I feel really connected with. Can you see the difference in how and the actions I might take depending on where it is that I'm moving from? Yeah. So when you can figure this out for yourself, the action steps that you need out of that can become far more clear. So if I want to do this because I want to make enough money to quit my job, but I'm focused on making connections with the community and building my community connections in a way that feels really good for me, I might accomplish this, but I'm going to do a lot of actions that probably aren't geared towards this thing that I'm really motivated to do, that's really driving me, and vice versa. So figuring out what's your why and really drilling down to that level of what is it that's really under there, that's wanting me, that I'm wanting to step into or move into, can be so helpful in figuring out how to share in a way that's authentic for you, and how to share with your whole self behind that, so you have some power and energy in it. Power of, not power over. Power of, not power over. I also personally know I don't like to sell things. So when I started with Young Living, I told Cecilia, the person that enrolled me, that I was never going to do this as a business. I was not interested in anything as a business, and that's just not going to happen. And if anybody wanted anything business related, I was just going to send them to her. And she was nice, and she smiled, and she said, okay, it won't last, but okay. No, you don't know me yet. Watch. I'm not going to do it as a business. And I didn't for like 2 years. And people kept asking me. I wasn't trying to sell things. I wasn't trying to sell peppermint essential oil or anything to anybody, but I was just naturally using the products. I would, grab my deep relief and rub some on the back of my neck, or I would, grab some lavender and smell a bit, or I would put some lemon in my juice, or I would do these things and people would see me do them and just start asking me like, what's that? Why are you doing that? What's that for? That's curious. That's cool. I'm not selling. I'm just talking about my life. I love that about Young Living. That's the way this is designed and set up. If you are a seller, by all means, go out and sell. That's awesome. Most of us aren't. Most of us are not. We don't do that naturally. But what I can do is I can share. I'm a good sharer. You want to ask me what my favorite movie is? I will tell you what movie to go see in the movie theater. You want to ask me what to get at a restaurant? I'm going to tell you. We do that naturally. We naturally share what we like and what works well with the people around us. I'm going to total sidetrack. So I have a friend that years ago found a brand and type of toilet paper that she fell in love with. Like, it is the toilet paper of toilet paper. It's not hard to get, but it's not easy to get. And she started sharing it. Literally, she brought to class a 12-pack of toilet paper and handed it out to the TAs, to the assistants in the class, and was like, this is my gift to you. This is what it is, and you're going to love it. Just trust me. I know it's weird. I know it's weird to give you toilet paper, but just trust me. And so many of us realized we really like this toilet paper. She shared that toilet paper with so many people that a lot of people that I know in my life and my community now only use that kind of toilet paper. She didn't make a penny off of that. She did all this advertising and marketing for this toilet paper company, for this specific type and brand of toilet paper, just because she loves it and she wanted to share that with the people that she loves. She didn't make a penny off of it. She's not financially motivated at all. The things I share fall in that same category. I share cinnamon bark essential oil, not because I make money off of it, but because I love it. I love what it does. I love how, I use it. I love how the Vitality version tastes. I love all of those things. And I'm just sharing that. And because it's a multi-level marketing company, Young Living pays us instead of paying advertisers and marketers. So when I share those things and then somebody then goes out and buys those products, I get a little bit of that money back instead of the person that's putting billboards up, or the person that's creating, commercials, and the person that's doing all those marketing things. That money, it doesn't go out there. It comes back to those of us who are actually out there sharing and talking about the products, the oils, and the experience within Young Living. So if my friend had a referral code or something to use for that toilet paper company, she would be rich right now, but it didn't exist. So when I think about selling, I don't like selling. I'm not selling. I'm sharing the things that I like. And when I have people that say, I can't do that, I don't do that, I'll often just ask them, You know what? I'd like to try a new restaurant. What's your favorite restaurant in town? Always. People always have an answer. So I'm gonna ask them, do you get anything by people going to that restaurant and ordering your favorite tacos? No. All right. Would you like to? Well, yeah, that'd be kind of cool if I could say, yeah, go to the taco stand down the street and order the number 3. If they knew where that advertising, that marketing was coming from, that'd be cool to get that back. Same thing. It's the same thing that we do here. So my motivation isn't to sell. My motivation is to say, these are the things that work for me and I really like, and to share that. There's no difference in how I share and in what I share. The only difference is that instead of the dollars that are used for marketing and advertising going to the people that are sharing word of mouth instead of the people that are creating advertising. So shifting that to sharing instead of selling made a huge difference. So then years ago when I was like, I'm not going to do it as a business, I'm not going to do it as a business, talking about it so much that people start asking, well, how do I get those oils? How can I get some of that? How do I order that? Oh, it's really easy. Go talk to Cecilia. She'll get you started. Cecilia's like, nope. You need to do this. You need to step up. You're creating that relationship. This is a relationship-based company. Everybody that is successful in this company they're successful because it's relationship-based. So the people that I'm referring to, the people that I'm sharing with, I'm creating a relationship with them. I need to be able to then take that and carry it into whatever their next step is. So an important piece of this is to make sure that I am offering solutions and being solution-oriented, right? So if I am solution-oriented and somebody, says, I'm just not drinking enough water. I'm having a hard time. I hate drinking plain water. And I say, what I do that I really like to do is I'll take peppermint vitality essential oil or lemon vitality essential oil, or some days a drop of each, and I'll drop them in my water. And that gets me drinking more water. I like the flavor of it and it feels pretty good. And they say, oh, that's a really good idea. Where do you get yours? Oh, I buy mine from Young Living. They have a really high standard of quality. I love the company. I love their foundation and I love what they stand for. Oh, that's really neat. How do I get some? Right? That look, that deer in headlights look of, oh no, they asked me. You got to get over that. They're asking you for help. They're asking you you're giving them a solution, but saying, but you can't have it. No, give them a solution and then help them get it. If they're ready for it, if they're asking for it, help them get it. Let them know about those starter kits. Let them know about that wholesale membership. If they're not ready for that, let them know about the retail account. Oh, no problem. You don't want to get a wholesale membership. You don't like that idea. That's not a problem. You can always start with the retail account. You're going to pay 24% more, but if you don't want a wholesale account, that's okay. Here's how to get a retail account. Help them get that retail account. Put your member number in there as the person that referred them, but help them get that. And then help them understand why saving 24% might be a nice thing for them to do, right? It's okay wherever they're at, start there. But what I realized is all of these people that I was just naturally sharing with about my life, and essential oils happen to be in them, or the supplements of the products. And then they say, well, I'd love to get some of that. When I didn't then say how to do that, when I didn't then help them through that next step of enrolling, then it was kind of like, yeah, I love this stuff, but you can't have it. That's not how I want to be, and that's not how I want to share. That's not who I am. So continue to help people through the whole process. It's not about selling. It can be if you're a seller. Most of us, not sellers, it's about sharing. But you got to share that wholesale membership idea. You got to share all the way through, Otherwise, you're saying, hey, there's this really great toilet paper and I'm going to give you one roll so you can experience it, but you can never get it anymore. That doesn't work, right? Doesn't work. It wouldn't work in the movies. I'm going to tell you about the best movie you'll ever not see because I'm not going to tell you where to see it. That doesn't work. It wouldn't work. Take them all the way through. It's not different. It's only different because you decide it's different. So decide it's not different and let it be not different. Offering solutions and being solution-oriented is a really big piece of this. When I'm naturally moving in the world with people around me, friends, family, clients, community, neighbors, whatever, there will always be somebody with an issue or a problem or something that needs to be solved. Sometimes the solution is just listening and not being like, I have an oil for that. But there's plenty of times where the answer is, I have an oil for that. So pay attention to where you're at. Does this person just need to vent and say something? Or are they actually asking for you to step in and give them an idea, give them a suggestion? And you can ask that. I understand that you're having a hard time right now, and I'm willing to listen to you. I just want to know, do you want my ears or do you want my suggestions? Often opening that and asking that question can be really, really good. I see a lot of people in relationships going through this, where one person comes home and they just want to complain and the other person just wants to fix it because they think that's helpful, right? When you want that fix it, then you want that. It can be hard if somebody's not fixing it for you and you really want them to. But when you want somebody to just listen, you want somebody to just listen. So try not to be I have an oil for that person for everything. You can do it jokingly, but also be that, I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to connect with you. And if you want suggestions, I'm sure we can find some. But if you just want somebody to listen, I'm here for that too. It's an important distinction. If you become I have an oil for that person, everywhere you go, people are going to start running from you. And this is a relationship business. It's hard to have relationships with people that are running from you unless you're, playing tag. It won't work. So pay attention to what it is that you're doing. Are you really listening to the issues that somebody's having? And also think about the 3 whys. If somebody is sharing something with you, I'm having a hard day. These are all the things that are happening to me. These are all the things that are going on in my life. You may initially come up with an idea of, oh, well, you know what? This product would be great for you. You need some stress away. You need some peace and calming. These things would be really nice and helpful for you. But really listening to what they're saying and really listening to what's the why underneath that and what's the why underneath that can help you get closer to a solution that will really be helpful for them, not a Band-Aid, right? Sometimes an oil is the thing that they need. Sometimes it's something more, right? Sometimes it may not be that they're having a hard time sleeping because they're so stressed out. It could be something else. So it opens up the possibility of more products that you might actually need to help them find. But it also opens up the possibility of paying attention to what is it that they are really trying to communicate? What is it that is really what they need? What they need may just be somebody to talk to 2 times a week, right? They just may need somebody to have virtual coffee with right now. They just may need somebody to say, you're not crazy. I know, this is hard. I get it. Meanwhile, I'm going to grab my stress away, right? But you got to find where they're at. So being solution-oriented isn't necessarily what oil or product do they need. I can do that. That is something that you can do. But it's also, what are they really asking for? When you're building a business or a hobby in Young Living, that relational piece, really relating to people on a human level, is going to make all the difference in what you do, how successful you are, how you're perceived by the people around you, and how you feel about yourself. So pay attention to that. It is really, truly an important piece. When you're sharing with Young Living, I always encourage people to be you, do you, be authentic. If you're not a classroom person, maybe don't start with teaching people in a classroom. Finding your edge and pushing it is an important piece of this. So if you're not a classroom teacher person now, put that now on there and see if that's something that you can maybe start stepping into. Find somebody who is that you can partner with to do classes, right? I can partner. I'm not a teacher. I'm not about to get up there and talk to somebody for an hour. That would scare the pants off of me. But I could do it if my friend was standing next to me. If she's doing most of the talking, I can do that. That's your growth edge. That's where you step into. If you're not a social media person and you're not about to go out and create all these graphics and post things every week or every day and keep up with all of this stuff, then that's not where you start. But check, is that part of my growth edge? Could that be something I start to step into, right? A lot of this company is on your own personal development. So you got to figure out, where is your growth edge? Go to that edge and then see how much you can grow from there in a way that's healthy for you and sustainable for you. Getting yourself out there, if you're going to do this as a business, is important. For me, scary, very scary. I started Young Living as a distributor 7 years ago. It's taken me a long time to get where I'm at today. And I'm not talking about in the rankings. It's taken me a long time to get where I'm at today in the rankings, but just in my comfort level of being able to communicate with people here virtually, in person, whatever, and share and feel like I really am sharing and not selling. But all of those little growth steps along the way were necessary so that I can now stand up and say, here's what I know, here's what works for me, here's how I can share with you. And when we work together, we can make the world a better place, at least our individual worlds. So figuring out what is yours and how your authentic voice is really important. You also want to, if you're going to be effective, you want to be duplicatable. Duplicatability, if you're doing this as a business, is so important. If you are trying to find a way to duplicate somebody else, make sure it's somebody that is in alignment with you. So if you have a hobby and you like this as a hobby and that's where you want to land, then find somebody to duplicate that's also doing it as a hobby. Don't try and duplicate somebody that's trying to be a Royal Crown Diamond and doing it as a business. There's going to be a huge disconnect. And vice versa. If you want to do this as a business and your goal is to hit gold or platinum or silver or Royal Crown Diamond or whatever your goal is right now, don't try and duplicate the person over here that's doing this as a hobby. That's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not in alignment. So pay attention to who you're duplicating, why you're duplicating, and is it in alignment with you? What I do is duplicatable in my mind and in my vision. I have no fancy backgrounds on purpose. This is my kitchen, right? I don't make things super flashy and super fancy because that's not me authentically. If I did that, the people that know me would be like, what is she doing? Why is she doing this? This is weird. It would feel weird. But I have friends that are super flashy and super fancy. And if they sat down in this same place and tried to connect with their audience would be like, what is wrong with her? Man, she must be having a bad day. Look at that. Something's off. You got to be authentic to you. And remember that while you're trying to be duplicatable, everybody else might not pick up on that. You're only going to be duplicatable for the people that you match with, and that's okay. So have a broad idea of what you want to do, and then figure out how you're working with the people around you. This business, your success in this business relies on helping other people be successful. It is imperative that if you are successful in this business, the people around you also have to be successful. So when I am thinking about this as a business and I'm working with the people around me, I'm working with their success. That means I have to figure out what success means for them. Not my idea of what their success is. Not my idea that, everybody in my downline is going to be a silver. That may not be their idea of success. So I need to figure out, with their help, relationship and communication, it's important in this company. I need to figure out what their definition of success is. What would success in this company, in this business, in this hobby look like for you? What would it feel like when you become successful? How will you know when you're a success? How will I know when you're a success? And let's work towards that. When I take those steps with the people that I'm working with in my line and outside of my lines, I am supporting more in a way that's more authentic and more useful. So having somebody that's helping me in my success, who has a different idea of what my success is than I do, isn't helpful. the suggestions they come up with, the things that they tell me to do, and the way they act and interact with me can feel really yucky. I'm thinking of somebody specifically here. It feels really yucky and I don't like it. The people that know what my idea of success is, who know what it means for me, what it would mean for me to be successful and how I work and how I interact, when they make a suggestion, when they give me ideas and when they work with me, it feels so much more supportive. It feels like they're actually working with me. That's what you want to do for the people you're working with, whether it's the people above you in line, below you in line, sidelines, sister lines, doesn't matter, whoever it is. One of the benefits of this company is that your success doesn't just rely on the success of the people above and below you. It relies on the success of everybody in the company. Because at some point in the compensations, you start getting shares in the company. You start getting percentages of how everybody else is doing. So it's a good idea to help and support everybody in the company. And why wouldn't we do that anyway? That's just a better way to be in the world. Let's throw out the idea of competition and let's collaborate. Because I tell you what, when I look at the bigger people on the lines, those that collaborate and work together get so much further. And they look like they're enjoying it far more than the people that are so like, no, I only work with the people I don't want to work with you, right? Be open to where all of this support can come from and where you can share your own support, and that's going to have its own momentum to get you into success. You also want to be a product of the products. It's really hard for me at least, to share a product if I haven't used it. If I don't know what that smells like, if I don't know what that feels like, if I haven't used a product, it can be really hard for me to share it. When I first started, I didn't have anything to do with Ningxia Red. It's like, oh, that's that expensive drink that people use. No, not going to worry about it. I can't afford it. It's not where I'm focusing. I'm going to do all these other things. But people kept asking me about Ningxia Red, and I didn't have anything to tell them other than it seems expensive. That's not helpful, and it's not true. I know that now because I know the value of it, but I didn't know the value of it then. So without knowing the value of it, for me, when I was really trying to pay attention to where my dollars were going, it did seem like an expensive thing to drink. And 2 ounces, that's like nothing. It's a quarter of a cup. You're gonna pour a quarter of a cup of juice? Come on, that's silly. It didn't make sense to me because I wasn't using it. So I didn't have a relationship with the product. So it made it hard for me to share. Now I drink this sucker every day. I understand the value of Ningxia Red in a way I never could have even imagined before. Now when somebody asks me about Ningxia Red, it is not an expensive drink. And I have a lot of things to say about that 2 ounces. That's a great amount. And here's the way to make it actually fill a glass when you're only putting 2 ounces of Ningxia Red in there to feel like you have a wonderful drink that can last you, through a couple hours of the day or whatever. I have so much more experience with the product, which allows me to then share it in a way that's authentic for me. So be a product of the products. Use the oils, use the supplements, explore and experiment with these things. I had somebody recently text me, somebody that was a member, text me and she said, you know what? I got this bottle of oil and it's coming my way and I ordered it accidentally. It was Manuka. She's like, I thought I was ordering tea tree. I don't know. I clicked on the wrong button and I discovered I'm getting a bottle of Manuka. I don't know what that is. I don't know what to do. Do I send it back? Do I keep it? Do I use it? What do I do? And so what I did is I referred her to her resource guides. Go look in the resource guide. Go look at what that oil is good for. See if there's an alignment with you. And this is a product I've used before. Here's what I think of it. Here's how it works for me. If I'd never tried that and she said, I'm getting this oil and I don't know what it is and it was an accident and I don't know, I would have been like, I don't know, smell it, try it, muscle test it, let's figure this out. But because I've used the product, I have far more idea of how it works for me. So I can confidently say, this is one I like, or this is one that it took me a while to like, or this is how I've used it. This is what works for me. Or you know what? I don't like that one so much, but when I paired it with this other thing, it was great, right? I have all of these other experiences that I can share, which holds more value for the people that I'm working with. It's important to be a product of the product. I am not saying go out and buy every product in Young Living. That doesn't work for me. It works for some people. I know some people who have done that. Doesn't work for me. But I use the things that I use. I explore in what I'm using when I can, and when new oils show up because I got an oil of the month, I open the bottle, I smell the bottle, I put it on. If it's a Vitality, I figure out how to use it in a drink or in food or in a capsule or some other way, and I play with it. That gives me more experience. It gives me more to share. It really is about sharing and connecting and building that relationship. So I need a relationship with what it is that I am using and who I'm sharing with. And I can build all of those. As you build those, it will make you more effective. Whether you're doing a hobby or a business, doesn't matter. So I also, whenever I share, whenever I'm beyond that first share of, yeah, here's a thing that I use, or this is how I drink more water, or this is what Ningxia Red does for me, I always want to follow up with that. The follow-up is so important. And what I realized is I was not effectively following up. I'm getting better about that. That's part of my growth edge. But I follow up, making sure that people understand that Young Living isn't just about oils. It's supplements, it's products, it's protein shakes, it's personal care products. It's also a lifestyle. It's also a very ethical company. There's the Seed to Seal standards that if you're not talking about Seed to Seal, people are missing out on a lot of it. It's also the foundation. When I found out about the foundation, it was years into Young Living before I found out about the foundation. I found out about it and I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, companies do that. And then I went to convention and we had Foundation Day, the last day of convention. And I had a personal connection with the videos, with the things that the foundation has been doing. I cried a whole bunch because I was so like touched in my heart, in my being by all the things that the foundation did. And it changed my relationship with the company because not only do I know that we have high quality and high standards, but we're also doing more for the environment and for the people around, whether or not they have anything to do with the products or Young Living. So the foundation is a huge part of it for me. It doesn't mean it's a huge part of it for other people, but it's a huge part for me. So I want to share that as well. And then sharing the community online, the community in person, the convention, the different ways to build that community. It's more than just an oil company. It's so much more. So sharing those pieces has helped me also to shape and build my business and hobby. Let's see. There are a lot of business options. There are a lot of people out there saying and suggesting different ways to do this as a business. All of them are effective for somebody. All of them are effective for many people. You have to find what's effective for you. So don't let somebody go out there and say, this is the way to do it. This is the way you have to do it. Take a look. If it's in alignment and if it fits, if you find enough of those growth edges that make you go, but I can do it, probably maybe with some help, then that's the one for you. If you look at it and you go, oh my God, no way, there's no way, there's no way, there's no way, it's probably not the way for you. If that's the words going through your head, then that's what's going to happen. If you were like I could probably do it, maybe I'm willing to try, go for that one, right? Find the thing that is in alignment with you. If you go, I was going to share this and I haven't shared it yet. So I'm going to share my screen, maybe. Yeah, nope, share screen. Okay, I am going to, how do I get out? There we go. Nope. If you haven't gone to the, so I'm going to go back over here. On your virtual office, when you log in and go to your virtual office, you'll see this main sidebar here to the left. I would love it if everybody would go to their member resources and explore this section. It took me years to find this section. There is so much information in here, so much information in here that is useful. Whether you're doing it as a business, as a company, as a hobby, or just I'm learning to use the oils. You can find member resources. You can find out lots of information about Level Up, policies and procedures. The product catalog virtually is here, links to it's here, the link builder's here. There's so much information here, and it digs deeper and deeper and deeper in all of the things that you can find, including infographics that you can share, videos that you can share, product education, policies, tons of stuff here. I highly suggest exploring the member resources section. One of the things that I've discovered in the member resources section is a page that says where we share. Where we share is specifically where Young Living Corporate shares. And it is a 5-page document of all of the places they share. If you're not paying attention to these, some of these, most of these, many of these, you're missing out on some of the information that naturally comes out. So we have in email, newsletters, and texts, there's lots of places they share. Whoops. Social media. There are a ton of Facebook groups that Young Living Corporate runs. That's super helpful. The leadership development, training and education, conduct success, a Spanish Facebook group, Weekly Dose of Valor, their blog, Lavender Life blog. There's the YL Share app. They have a Twitter account, an Instagram account, a Pinterest account, a YouTube account, a Giphy account, a Flickr account. There are so many. So go out there and check out where we share that document to find some of these and start connecting up with Young Living Corporate so that you can make that connection for yourself in helping you figure out how to share and how to learn more. The other thing I want to share is the income disclosure statement. Anytime we talk about business within Young Living, being a multi-level marketing company, network marketing company, it's really important to share the income disclosure statement. So I'm not saying you're going to come out and start, running a business with Young Living and make $1 million. You could. I can also tell you how many people have done that, right? $1 million is around the level of a diamond for the highest income. For the average income, it's around a Royal Crown diamond, right? And I can also tell you how many months it took them to get there. This is the income disclosure statement from 2017. So you can look here, average months to achieve this rank. This is how many months it took on the low side, on the average side, and on the high side to achieve the rank. Now this is from the previous rank. So on the low side, it took somebody from 33 months to 36 months to get to Royal Crown Diamond. On the high side, from 140 to 117 months, right? So to get from Royal Crown and Crown Diamond to Royal Crown Diamond, 117 months. That's not 117 months from start. So also has the income amounts, the lowest income annually, highest income annually, and the average income annually of each distributor or of each rank type. Now, excuse me. These percentages take into consideration all members. So of anybody that has an active Young Living account in 2018, 88.8% of them were distributors, which means they had a wholesale account. Didn't mean they enrolled anybody, just meant they have a wholesale account. 7.9% advanced to star, and 2% to senior star, and on. When you look at the people who are business builders, these numbers are very different. The majority of this company, and one of the reasons it works so well, is because it's a product-based company that people love the products. More people are in this company for the products than are in this company for the business. And in the world of multi-level marketing, that's huge. That's not common. It's very uncommon to have a company where more people are in it for the products than are in it for the business. This is really important and something that sets Young Living apart. It's not something that's done intentionally. It's just the way that happened. People love these products. And so some people are sharing it. Of the people that are sharing it, 33% are the distributors. 41% are stars. So the numbers change very quickly when we look at who is actually doing this as a business. And when I say as a business, that includes hobby. So if you've enrolled one person or more, you fall into these categories. The majority of the company is a star. They're at the level of star. The next level is a distributor. The third level is a senior star, and then executive, silver, gold, platinum, and on down as you would mostly expect. There are actually more Royal Crown Diamonds than Crown Diamonds in 2017. I don't know what the numbers are now. They haven't come out yet, but the numbers are different depending on if you're looking at the company as a whole or you're looking at the people that have and are enrolling people. But I just want to make sure that you all seen this. It is important to have. It is in the member resources in the back office if you want to go download this, look at this, read this. There's lots of information in here that's really useful and helpful. But I also want to make sure I'm setting that realistic goal. On average in 2017, to get to silver, people had 219 people in their organization. The organization meaning their downlines. So a lot of people want to get to silver, and I would love to get to silver. That would be a really cool thing to me, I think, to get to silver because of the paycheck, but also because of the advancement and of the accomplishment. And the average silver in 2017 had 219 people in their downline. I have 34. I might have some work to do, but it gives me an idea of where I'm going. It helps me be more realistic, and it makes me realize that if I want to keep doing this as a hobby, I'm on the right track. If I want to start doing this as a business and really do this as a business, I got to start enrolling people. How am I going to get 219 people enrolled? I don't have to do all the work. I don't have to enroll everybody, but I have to do everything else I've said and support the people in getting success that I'm working with and helping them be successful. So it's extremely important that you do that as well. Anytime you're talking about doing Young Living as a business, it's important to share this income disclosure statement. Whether you're doing something in person or online, make sure you know this. It is part of your legal responsibility. Share the income disclosure statement. Anytime you bring up the compensation plan, in person, virtually, or otherwise, make sure you're opening the income disclosure statement as well. That is a very, very important piece. So that's another quick tip that I will give you. It is an important piece. So I've talked to you for about an hour. I'm going to stop, but I just want you to remember, it's important to figure out, are you doing this as a business or hobby? And how do you feel about that? Are you okay with that? Is that where you want to be? And if it is, cool. And if it's not, that's cool too. Now you know you can make some shifts. If you're doing this as a business and you want to be successful, about 80% of the time that you're doing anything, it needs to be something business, not scrolling, not creating a pretty picture, an infographic. It needs to be actually engaging with people, getting people enrolled, getting people their kits, following up with people, and being actively engaged. Do what you do best and be authentic. If you're not being authentic, it's not going to translate. My friend that brought us the toilet paper, that's the type of person she was. She's the type of person that if she found the best anything, she was going to not only tell you about it, but share it and bring it and have no shame that she's bringing toilet paper to class. And it's not a class like that. That was authentic to her. If I did that, it would come off a little bit weird. That's not how I would have done it. I probably would have had it in a bag and been like, this is amazing toilet paper. If you're interested, I have a thing that I can give to you. That would have been more authentic to me, right? But she just walked up, put it on our table. This is the best toilet paper. Let me know what you think. That's just how she was. So be authentic to you. That's how you're going to be successful. Be duplicatable. Allow yourself to be duplicatable. Duplicate somebody else, but make sure you're doing it in a way that's right for you. And make sure you're duplicating somebody that's on the right level. Are they doing a hobby or a business? And where are you? Do that, okay? And then communication is key. Communication with your upline, with your sidelines, with your downline, with anybody that you're working with. This is a relationship company. If you're not building those relationships, your success is going to be stunted. So pay attention to all of these pieces. Next week, I'm going to talk about the compensation plan. I'm going to talk about bonuses. We'll get into more of the financial pieces of it, some more of the building in that aspect and category. But I just wanted to talk about some of the basics of sharing and why it's so important to share. We are a company that shares more than sells. There are people that sell. Most of us share. And we share because it's more authentic to who we are. So be authentic, have fun with it, and do you. You got this. All right, I've stopped sharing.